like I didn't have enough in me to write a book. Not the story. I'm talking about me, the ability. I was worried about how it was going to sound. But God spoke to me and said, don't worry about how it's going to sound. Just start writing. As I began to put the pen to the paper, God brought back to my remembrance a childhood situation I was in. Lone Oak had its first tornado. We were all at school. And the principal told everybody to get in the hallway. All of a sudden, we having to apply the things we had been having drills on. I don't know why that didn't register in my head, but instead of getting in the hallway, I jumped on my bicycle and headed home instead. By the time I got to my street to turn to go home, the wind and the rain was coming down. So when it had got so heavy until when I went to turn, the wind picked my bicycle up and threw me in this ditch that was by the baseball diamond. So I left my bicycle in the ditch. I crawled out the ditch. I stood up to walk down the street, and I couldn't go. I couldn't go. So what I had to do was drop down on my knees and go the opposite direction, away from the wind. Still blowing, but I couldn't go straight into the wind. And I dropped on my knees and I crawled. And I crawled all the way home. God used that. He brought it back to my remembrance. Because when my mother died, it just felt like I just wasn't going to make it. Seemed like I just couldn't take it. Seemed like it was just so dark I couldn't see my way. I asked God, why did it seem like I couldn't take it when my mother died? It felt like I was going to fold. And I said, but when my children died, God, it seemed like I took it better. The Lord spoke to me. And he said, because when your mother died, you tried to go through the storm standing up. But when your children died, you dropped down on your knees. See, oh, hallelujah. And you went through the storm on your knees. See, it's a difference. See, some things you can figure out. You work your way through. You get it together. But when a storm comes, where's God's kind of stuff? My granddaughter, when she was small, she would go in my closet, get my shoes, put on my shoes, and walk down the hall, clip, clap. But them weren't her shoes. That was my kind of stuff. Them shoes were too big for her. See what I mean about God kind of stuff? It's too big for me. It was too big for me. I couldn't wear God's shoes. These were God's shoes. It was only a pair of shoes that was beyond me that was going to fix this. I was in a car wreck in 1998. And in that car wreck, I lost my 8-year-old, my 10-year-old. My sister lost her 12-year-old, her 13-year-old. And we was on the way to bury my mother, who had 52 years old, had died with breast cancer. Stepfather was driving, and he eventually passed away. And they had to bury the 4 children and my mother together. My stepfather was buried later on. I had a broken femur, my pelvic bone broke, my back broke in 2 places, my shoulders, wrist, and my ribs. And they said, Miss Palmer, you may never walk again. But I told them, you all do all you can do, and God's gonna do the rest. This is when the Lord told me to write the book. It's amazing to me how God can take your life experiences to make you really see. My book ain't for the weak. It's not for the self-righteous. It's not for them whole people that ain't got no sickness. They got themselves all the way together. They're self-righteous and judgmental. It's not, because I tell my real testimony. A lot of people can't take your real testimony. God is a God that forgives. In order to live your best life, you got to forgive. And God is a curse breaker. My name is Jacqueline Palmer, the author of My Storm, Destined for Greatness, Volume 1 and Volume 2. You'll never be the same, and you'll say, if God did it for her, he can do it for me.
Hello, everybody. Come on in here. Click like, click share. We are live on Facebook and YouTube on the Mind Your Business platform. And I'm Evangelist Jacqueline Palmer. Listen, I'm not telling you to stay out your neighbor's business, but you know you should. But I want to know, are you minding the business of God? Are you doing what God has called you to do? Oh, it's time for us. I got more years behind me than I got in front of me. So I ain't got time for playing. And neither do you. Because we don't know when he going to call our name. But I want to be ready when he called. Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord Jesus. But you all, I am not going to prolong the time because y'all that know me know that I got the gift of gab. So let me stop gabbing because I got a young lady here that's got a treat for us. I'm trying not to tell you what the treat is, but I tell you, God has brought her from a mighty, mighty, mighty long way. And if God did it for her, he can do it for us. I'm not just talking about you, I'm talking about us, because she is an inspiration to me. And this is one reason why I wanted her on my platform, because I know if I'm inspired to travel the road that she has traveled, I know that you're going to be inspired by her story. Oh, come on, Miss Rebecca, unmute that mic and come on and come on.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I am Rebecca Townsell, and today is Friday, but it's time for transparency and truth, and I'm here to tell it because God told me it was time for me to tell my testimony, and I have to be obedient to what God told me to do. He's not going to have it any other way. He's been, you know, literally, I won't say, I might as well just say haunting, because he's been on me about telling my testimony, and he won't let up because he said you're going to help somebody. I've been in the place. I've been through a storm. God brought me to the storm. He brought me through the storm, but he ain't brought me out because there's still work to be done. He told me that you're going to help encourage somebody through this platform. You're going to help encourage somebody to make it through the storm that they didn't think they would be able to make it through. And I'm going to help encourage you through my testimony to help you make it through this storm, because I know if I can make it through, anybody can make it through, because all the trials and tribulations, I know I should have been dead by now, but I'm going to tell my truth and my testimony, and I know that it'll help somebody, and that's what I'm going to do today. Lord. Deliverance. Deliverance from addiction. It would be what I would call my testimony.
Yes.
At an early age of 4 and 5 years old, I knew that I was different. Didn't know what that meant, but I felt different. I told my mom and dad, I'm different. I feel different. I don't look like either one of my parents, but I just told them I feel different, Mom and Daddy. My mom and dad shared with me and my sister and I that we were adopted. And the show Webster and Different Strokes were on back in the 70s that helped kids know what it's like to not be raised by your biological family, but get chosen by God to be blessed, to be put into a family, and get raised and get loved on. And I had amazing parents, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that that time in my life where I could have been in foster care all of my life and not ever adopted, but my parents adopted my sister and I, which were fraternal twins. They adopted us together and raised us as their own. And my parents always told us that we were chosen to be their children. And I've always felt special because of that. But I also have to talk about, I got bullied, I got teased, I got ridiculed because I didn't look like what everybody thought I should look like. I was tall, skinny, lanky, real tomboyish, just didn't look like what people thought I should look like. And then on the other hand, I had a twin, my fraternal twin. She was into the makeup and the perfume and the clothes, and I just wasn't into that. I was an athlete, and I was okay with that. I wasn't okay with the bullying. And I would say that even happened all the way up to high school. I had my first child at 16 years old. Um, I wasn't able to continue to attend my home school. I had to go to an alternative school in San Jose, California. And my son had a lot of health issues of asthma, and he acquired a lot of, you know, would catch pneumonia and just bad colds all the time because of his asthma, to where I was able to do homeschooling. Through homeschooling, I was able to graduate, not only graduate, but graduate valedictorian of that alternative school, which was a, a the best scholastic achievement that I think anybody can say. I just, I'm very proud of that achievement. I went on to go to Job Corps till I was trying to figure it out. I went to Job Corps, and then I went to a junior college and played one semester of basketball. And I told the coach, you know what? I want to go to Langston University. That's always been my dream, to go to my father's alma mater here in Langston, Oklahoma. And he said, well, you know what? I said, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do it because I had a baby. He said, a baby isn't going to stop anything. He said, you can achieve anything that you want to achieve if you put your mind to it. I said, but I have a baby. He said, it might take you longer, but you can get there. So he told me, let's send some tapes of you playing basketball to the coach. And I sent them, got a call, and got a offer for a basketball scholarship to Langston University in August of '94. I was on my way from San Jose, California to Langston, Oklahoma to be a Lady Lion. And I just remember calling my father and saying, Dad, I did it. I'm going to be a Lady Lion. And he was like, you're going to go to my alma mater? And I said, yes, I'm on my way, Daddy. Got on the bus, the Greyhound bus, with $50 in my pocket and a 3-year-old child. And I was on my way to my life forever being changed. And I was just proud to be a Lady Lion, proud that all the people that had said I never would finish high school because I had a baby, and then I definitely would never get a scholarship to play basketball because I had a baby. But I wanted to prove them wrong. I wanted to prove myself wrong first, and I wanted to prove them wrong. And I was able to achieve that. My first semester at Langston University, I ended up being sexually violated. And through that violation, I ended up pregnant. I delivered my daughter on December 27th of '94. However, she was stillborn. I'll be honest, I didn't have an emotional connection with her, I think because of the way she was conceived. And I felt bad about that, because what mother doesn't want to have a connection with their child that they're carrying? I didn't have any emotions towards feeling my child moving inside of me. I was just numb. I just literally just went through the pregnancy and delivered her. But it wasn't until I delivered her that I asked, could I see my baby? And I remember the nurses just were moving at a fast pace and covered her up and went out of the room. And I just started saying, okay, I'll see my baby eventually. But I never got a chance to actually see her face, to hold her. A chaplain came in about 30 minutes later, and I always felt like if you see a chaplain or somebody of the cloth, that it's not going to be a good thing. So he informed me that my daughter was stillborn, And it actually made me think about, I didn't hear her cry. But because I wasn't emotionally attached to her, I felt like that was the reason why I didn't wonder about why she wasn't crying. But I just had to deal with what was happening on not, you know, raising my daughter, but I also had to take responsibility for uh, having the college experience. I was drinking, I was smoking weed, I was uh, partying, I was just having the good college experience, and I just used the excuse of, we're in Langston, Oklahoma, a country, little small town, historically Black college, and I was going to have my college experience. And I used that as an excuse to make all the wrong choices. And I had to deal with what I had done and take responsibility for my actions led possibly to wrong decisions being made. I went on back to school, and I ended up having a uh, daughter in August of '98. My daughter, Imani Nicole. Um, by then, I was in a better state of mind because um, I had obtained an associate's degree. So, and I was working on my bachelor's degree. So I felt a little bit better about my situation. I was working. I went on to leave Langston University, um, and went to Oklahoma City and started, you know, working and raising my kids. I went on to get married. And I'll be honest, I really did not want to be married. I like the idea of marriage, the idea of saying I had a husband, but it was a marriage of convenience. Um, and in that marriage, I went through a lot of things. I was verbally abused, mentally abused, physically abused. I experienced domestic violence at a it was just horrible. Every day I was experiencing domestic violence, and I always said I would never, ever let anybody put their hands on me. But guess what? I stayed for 15 years, and I, I used to acquire bruises in areas where they could be hidden, and sometimes they were hidden, sometimes they weren't. And also too, I thought to myself, how could I allow myself to go through this physical abuse? I just, was one of those people that said, if somebody ever touched me, in my marriage, I would just leave. But guess what? I didn't leave. I like the idea of being married. And I thought, you know what? I could cover up these bruises. I could put on a facade and put on a smile for people. And I was in my darkest level of depression when I was going through that. I just liked the idea of saying I was married and I had a husband, and it didn't matter how many bruises I had. It didn't matter how many derogatory names or negative things he said to me. That was my husband, and I was supposed to work it out and make it work no matter what. That's what you're told as a little girl when it comes to your marriage. You're supposed to make it work and do whatever you have to do to make your husband happy. But it didn't matter. It didn't matter. I put on that smile. I put on that facade for people to let them think everything was all good. And I was dying inside. I literally made several attempts to take my life because I felt like anything but going through this domestic violence was anything would be better than this. Death would even be better, even if it caused my children to be, not have a mother, or my mother or my father not to have their daughter anymore. It was worth it to end my life because I couldn't take the domestic violence anymore. But God seemed fit to see me through that situation. And I developed a food addiction in that journey. I got to the highest weight of 460 pounds, wearing a 7-8X in t-shirts, a 30-32 in pants. And Lord, like I thought to myself, I remember times laying in the bed and eating ice cream, two pints of ice cream every day, everybody, every day, 2 pints of ice cream, and a 2-liter of Dr. Pepper, or a 6-pack of Dr. Pepper every day. And I remember having that addiction be so strong that every day I was going to 7-Eleven and getting my 2 pints of butter pecan or black walnut or cookies and cream every day, my 2-liter of Dr. Pepper, or my 6-pack of pop. And my choice of pop was Dr. Pepper, and my 100 ounces of crushed ice from 7-Eleven. And the day that I knew my life had changed forever, and that that God showed me the realization that I had an issue, I had an addiction, was I went into 7-Eleven and got my 2 pints of ice cream, went to my sorority sister Lisa's house, and forgot that ice cream in the car. And when I realized that I had forgot my ice cream, I started crying. And I was asked, "What are you crying about? What's wrong? Who died?" I said, "Nobody died." I said, "I left my ice cream in the car and it melted." And the individual said, "You mean to tell me you're crying over some ice cream?" And I said, "Yes." It felt like a death to me because I was addicted to it. And I thought to myself, I got to have it. I got to have that fix. I went back in my car, went to 7-Eleven, and told the cashier, I said, "Something was wrong with your ice cream." That's how sick the addiction was, that I was willing to lie and scheme and tell this cashier that something was wrong with their ice cream, and there was nothing wrong with their ice cream. I just had forgot the ice cream in the car. And she said, "Oh, baby, don't worry about it." She said, "Go in there and get you two more of your ice creams that you love so much, and you have your pop already." And she said, "We'll see you tomorrow because you come every day for your ice cream and your pop and your ice." And I went out and I went and ate that ice cream. And after I ate that ice cream, that person reminded me of, "You cried over some ice cream." Mm-hmm. "You cried like somebody died over ice cream." I said, somebody did die. My ice cream died. And I was mourning over it. I was mourning over that butter pecan and that cookies and cream. I was mourning over it. I had to have it. And I said, after that, I thought about what that cashier had said. And I said, "Lord, please deliver me from this, because I don't want to feel like that. I don't want to be emotional over no food. I don't want to be addicted to something so much that I'm crying over it. I don't want that anymore."
Can I ask you something? I was thinking about the word that you said, addiction. Usually, I find people that strung out on drugs, addicted on alcohol, they'll be drinking or hitting that pipe flying, wishing they could stop, but they crying. They depressed. They hit. They want to stop, but can't. Were you ever at that point?
I used to lay in my bed. I used to lay in my bed and cry when I got to the bottom of that pint of ice cream, because the addiction was so real. I would cry. That's why I think I acquired two, because I felt like if I get two, I might get full. And it fed my addiction. My addiction was so, I would sit there and cry, not because I wanted to stop, but because I wanted more. I was sad that that ice cream was almost gone and I only had one more bite to eat. I was upset. I was crying. Like, I want more. I gotta have that Dr. Pepper. And mentally, what I would do is, when I would drink that 2 liter of Dr. Pepper, I would mark on the bottle the time of where that line was, to show me where I had stopped drinking at. I would put it in the refrigerator. And this is how sick the addiction was. I said, if I looked at that line and somebody had drank out of that Dr. Pepper bottle, guess what? I would go right back to 7-Eleven and go get another 2 liter. But guess what? I wasn't using that same 7-Eleven. I was going out of my way to go to another 7-Eleven and get another 2 liter, because I already got my 2 pints of ice cream from the one 7-Eleven. So I was embarrassed. I didn't want them to see me coming back for another 2 liters. So I'm going out of my way to go get that second 2 liter. But I knew somebody was going to drink out of that 2 liter bottle. So I was drinking more than probably two liters a day, plus the 2 pints of ice cream every day. Just because the addiction was so real. I was sitting in my bed. Sometimes I didn't even want to get up. I got up long enough to go to the bathroom. And then I got so lazy even with that, to where I literally had a commode next to my bed, because I was too lazy to get up and go use the bathroom in the regular bathroom. That I wanted to be next to my food. I didn't want to leave my food. That's how serious the addiction was. That I felt like if I stayed right next to her, went to the bathroom and got right back in the bed, that my food wouldn't be cold. I could consider, I wasn't leaving. I felt like I was leaving, like a mother would feel like they're leaving their child. I felt like I was leaving my food, and my food couldn't live without me, and I couldn't live without my food. And that's sick, because there was times I didn't even want to get up and take a shower, wash my body. I didn't want to brush my teeth. I didn't want to do my hair, but I couldn't leave my food. And then on the TV, I was watching the 600-Pound Life. I was sitting there literally saying to myself, I don't look like these people on this show. But guess what? I was them. I was 40 pounds short of 500 pounds. Some of these individuals were 500, 600, 700 pounds, some 800 pounds. But guess what? I was judging these people because in my mind, everybody had told me, oh, Rebecca, you couldn't be no 460 pounds. So mentally, I told myself that I don't look like what I'm going through. So because people told me that, I told myself. And that was the mental illness, saying, because people are telling you don't look like you're 460 pounds, it's okay. You can sit here and eat this large pizza. You can sit here and, eat all this food and eat all this ice cream, and that's okay, because guess what? People said you don't look like it. You don't look 460. And so I began to keep that in mind. And that kept me in the bed, eating up everything that wasn't nailed down. And I was trying to get tattooed. Use the hammer to bring that screw out of, out of that wall from where the food was nailed down. I didn't care. I was going my food at any expense. The addiction was so real that there was times when I know I needed to use that money on something else, but I used it on my food because I had to have it. Just like a person that's hooked on drugs, they have to get their fix, daily fix. I was the same as that drug addict, that sex addict. I had an addiction, and I didn't care what I had to do to get that fix. I was going to get it. And in experiencing this addiction, I had a husband that told me, let's go ahead and talk the doctor into letting you come home from the rehab hospital. I had been there 6 months. He begged my surgeon to let me out of the rehab hospital. I'm her husband. Let me take care of her. And I didn't know. See, sometimes when you don't know that a person has malice and anger in their heart for you, you don't know. That is so dangerous, because this person is doing little things to show you, and the buildup was so real that it went from him taking care of me because I was confined to my bed, to mentally abusing me, to physically abusing me, and actually taking away something that was so precious to me, like food. He took me from my food down to 2 hot dogs and 2 cups of water, 1 to 2 cups of water a day. And that was all that I was able to eat because I couldn't walk. I was confined to my bed. This person chose to give me 2 hot dogs and 1 to 2 cups of water a day. And that was all that I ate on a daily basis. And I actually had a neighbor that cooked every day. And she used to send food over to the house with her kids for me. And my ex-husband was eating this food, but only giving me the hot dogs. And I thought to myself, like, I remember she came over about 3 weeks later, and she said, "You're not saying anything about this food that I'm sending over. Was it good? Was it not?" And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not eating anything but hot dogs and water. That's all he's giving me. She said, "I've been sending food over here for the last 3 weeks. And you haven't ate any of it?" And I said, "No." That's when I knew that someone that I had been together with for a very long time had malice in his heart for me, and he happened to be the one to take care of me when I couldn't walk. He had to dump my toilet. He had to bring me water so I could wash up on the side of my bed. He had to give me my pills. This man had malice in his heart for me and told me how he was going to take my life, and started making efforts to do that. So not only was I trying to deal with an addiction, a major addiction, food addiction, I was dealing with depression, mental illness, because of everything I was going through. I was dealing with a person that had malice in his heart for me and no longer wanted me to be his wife, and didn't want me to be alive anymore, and resented me. So it was how God delivered me from that situation was, one day I asked him for some more hot dogs, And he told me, no, you're not getting any more hot dogs. You're not getting anything else to eat because you need to lose weight. My sorority sister happened to be at the door, and the window happened to be open, and she heard him say that to me. The door happened to be unlocked. She flew through that door. Lisa flew through that door, and you would have thought a tornado came through there because I had perfume on my dresser. She swiped that perfume off that dresser and popped herself up on that dresser and called him in that room. And she said, I get off at 5 o'clock. All I know is my sister's stuff better be packed. And I'm taking her with me. And you, if you know what's good for you, better be gone. Because she then knew I was able to come out and tell her what was being done to me. And he wasn't allowing people to come in. Occupational therapy was not allowed to come in. Physical therapy was denied access to coming in. And my doctor had set it up to where they were coming to the house to give those services to me. He denied access to them. And I left that day and went and stayed at my sorority sister's house until I was healed from that surgery. Some months later, she's a nurse, so she was able to heal me, but give me tough love and told me when I want to sit in the bed and be addicted to food, you're not getting any more ice cream. No, I'm not going to the store and getting ice cream. You can't drive. So no, you get up and fix yourself your own food. She did it for some days, but she came in and said, no, you're going to get up and do what you're supposed to do. You're going to get up and walk again. You're going to get up and walk again. God is going to heal you with his stripes. And you're going to stop all this eating and this addiction because this is not you. This is not you. So when I say that at the highest of 460 pounds, I went into my wedding anniversary was coming up on February 16th of that year. God told me, I'm going to take the desire of overeating out of you because I had prayed about it. I said, God, take the taste of ice cream to where when I eat it, it's going to make me sick. Take it out of me. Take that taste of pop out of my mouth because I deliver me from this addiction because it's going to kill me. I had gained 80 pounds from April to November. I had gained 80 pounds and I had to have a surgery in November. That November, I was supposed to have lost some weight, but my doctor said, you're so addicted to food, you're not going to. So he did the surgery anyway. And when I say God took that taste of pop out of me so bad to where when I got my next 2-liter, and some people don't know this with pop, especially dark pop, the darker it is, the stronger the carbonation is and the stronger the pop is. The next 2-liter that I got, it was very dark. But guess what? When I tasted it, it tasted flat. Went back and got a couple other 2-liters, the same thing. God had took the desire of pop out of me to where every pop I tasted, I even went to the back of the pops and said, okay, I'll get a newer pop, a newer pop. And every pop I tasted was flat because God had delivered me from the taste of pop. When I got the ice cream, and I'm lactose. I don't, I'm not supposed to be eating milk products, you know? And anytime that I was eating that ice cream before, I never had any issues with my stomach hurting. When I tell you that I started acquiring having stomach problems, and I'm talking about something fierce too, real bad stomach problems. Anytime I ate that ice cream, 2 or 3 bites, I was having stomach problems, you know, and they would have me running on my walker to the bathroom. And I wasn't using the commode anymore. I was using the actual bathroom. I was literally running on my walker to get to that bathroom because of that ice cream. So God had took the taste of those items out of me, to where he said, you're healed by my stripes. You don't need that stuff anymore. The addiction is gone. The addiction is gone. And I'm telling you, I feel like if I can make it through this addiction, if God can heal me by his stripes from that addiction, anybody can do it, because that addiction almost cost me my life, literally.
Question. When you had your surgery, because you had the weight that they wanted you to lose, did you have any complications?
Yes, I absolutely did. I developed sleep apnea. I had to have a sleep study. I stopped breathing 92 times in less than a half an hour. And that technician ran in there, and I remember it was 2:48 in the morning. She ran in there, and the look on her face, and all I remember is hearing her, and I was the only one in the building with her. I remember her calling her supervisor and saying, Rebecca's stopped breathing 92 times in less than a half an hour. Are we sending her to the hospital? She said, no, just put the CPAP machine on her, and we're going to get her. She's going to have a CPAP machine. And so if anybody knows about having a sleep study, you usually don't get your results until, they send it to your doctor. I knew right then and there I was going to have a sleep apnea machine, because I had stopped breathing so many times. That technician and that supervisor actually went into, because my insurance wouldn't pay for the sleep apnea machine, they went and started going around finding places that people donated different items. There was a gentleman that happened to donate a sleep apnea machine that he only used one time. And I was able to get that machine. And I just thought to myself, Lord, like, look what I've done to myself. Not only the sleep apnea, but I also started having adult onset diabetes that triggered seizures and blackouts. I was having 5 to 10 seizures a day, blackouts every day. And I had to stop driving. I had to have my tonsils, my uvula, my adenoids taken out during this time too, because I was sitting up, talking to people, falling asleep. I was snoring, sitting up, talking to people. I was snoring as though I was asleep. So all of this was weight attributed. And I just knew God was going to call me home because of my weight and the different, health ailments that I had. I knew I had to do something. So when God said, we're going to change your life today, I changed my life on February 16th of that year. Like I said, which was my wedding anniversary. I created a smoothie that was French style green beans, pineapples, and blueberries. I drank 2 cups of that smoothie mix every day, twice a day, and ate a balanced meal at nighttime, not after 7 o'clock, a regiment that I created along with snacks, like peanuts and seaweed, different snacks, different things, popsicles. I did that regiment for 40 days and lost 76 pounds. And I remember going.
Repeat that. How many pounds did you lose?
I lost 76 pounds in 40 days. I went from a 7-8X in a t-shirt, and really should have been an 8-9X t-shirt, because I was looking like I had on a baby onesie in that 7-8X t-shirt. As you'll see in the pictures that have been shown and will be shown later on also, the 7-8X shirt was the only shirt that I could wear because I couldn't fit anything else. And I was wearing a 30-32 in pants. And when I tell you 40 days later, I was able to go to a physical therapy appointment, and the technician had gave me a 2X shirt, and I came in wearing that shirt, and all she could do was cry, because I know what she was thinking when she gave me the shirt, that there's no way she's going to be able to wear that 2X shirt. But because we have to give our patients these t-shirts, hey, I'm just going to give it to her because that's what I'm supposed to do. But I told her before I left out, I said, the next time you see me, I will have this t-shirt on. I will be wearing this t-shirt. And I got the brightest t-shirt that it was. It was like a lime green yellow shirt. And when she see me, all she could do was cry, because she said, you did it. And I said, yes, I told you I was going to do it. I was determined to change my life on February 16th of that year, that I would never look at food the same again, because God took that addiction out of me. He took it out of me, the taste of food. Food didn't even taste the same to me after that. And I knew that I was delivered from that. So my ex-husband, like I said, we had separated, because when you're with somebody that wants to do harm to you like that, God is going to deliver you from that situation, take you out of that situation. I begged him that if you take this addiction of food out of me, I will do whatever it is that you tell me to do. I didn't care that I had been married to him for a long time. I didn't care anything about that. I said, take me out of this situation, and I will do anything that you ask me to do. And you know what? God took me from that situation. He had me take my life back February 16th. Yes. And I never looked back. I never looked back. And I was able to see him probably about 2 months later. He came over to fix one of my neighbor's cars. He told my neighbor I would like to talk to her. As angry as I used to be, I asked God to take that anger out of me, because when God took that addiction away from me and took him out of my life, he took that anger out of me also too, because he said that you have been delivered. I am taking you, I'm eliminating and elevating you to another level. People that don't need to be in your life, I'm going to remove them. He removed him from my presence and didn't allow harm, hurt, or danger to come to me, because this man had malice in his heart for me. He didn't want me to be alive anymore. And when a person tells you how they're going to take your life and starts taking steps to do that, that ain't nothing but God that removed me from that situation. He put vessels in place to help me through that. He put my sorority sister in a place to be at the right place at the right time, to hear what she needed to hear to get me out of there. She was the vessel that God used to remove me from harm, hurt, and danger that he was trying to afflict onto me. And he took that anger out of me to where I was able, I was able to hop on my walker across the street and look at my ex-husband. Well, he wasn't even my ex-husband at that time. I was able to look at my husband in his face, and all he could say is, "Oh my God, look at you." He said, "Why didn't you do that when we were together?" And I looked at him and I said, "Because it wasn't supposed to happen until I was no longer with you. God delivered me from the domestic violence that you inflicted on me. And God took the addiction out of me. So God, I wasn't supposed to make my metamorphosis when I was with you. I was supposed to go through the storm of that addiction to get to where I'm at now." So he was saying, "You're always going to be my wife. I'll never get with anybody else." I said, "That's fine. But I'm done. I'm done." And by the time that had happened, I had filed for divorce.
Yeah.
And the judge asked me, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I've never been more sure about anything in my life. "But you've been with him a long time." "It doesn't matter. I've been delivered. So it's time for me to elevate, and God, for you to eliminate people that aren't supposed to be in my life." And he was one of those individuals. And addiction is so powerful, Miss Jackie. It have you thinking things that you be delusional about things. I thought, I would go to the nail shop and get my 5-inch natural nails painted in the brightest colors, because I thought mentally, if I'm dolled up with the makeup and the perfume smelling good, and with the bright green nail polish and toes matching and hair done, and makeup flawless. They were 5 inches, and they were all mine naturally. And Miss Jackie, when I tell you, I had my fraternity brother, Jamel Perry, I'll never forget it, at Langston's homecoming that very year. I was sitting next to him, and he said, you always keep your nails so beautiful. But he said, "Can I share something with you?" And I said, "Yes, anything." He said, "You're hiding behind those nails." And I said, "What?" I said, "Bro, what are you talking about?" He said, "You're hiding behind those nails." You said, "You think people don't see you? They see you, but you put out such a pretty package that you think that they don't see you, because the first thing people are drawn to are your nails, because you keep them so brightly painted and pretty. You think they don't see you, but they see you." He said, "I see you, and I'm here to tell you, stop hiding behind those nails."
Wow.
"Stop hiding behind those nails, sis." He said, "People see you. They see you." I said, "I'm 460 pounds, bruh." He said, "People see you." And you know what? That was a Saturday. That next day, I cut those nails off, and I've never had any more nails on ever again, because I refused. When God delivered me from that addiction, he delivered me from not sharing my testimony. My testimony was my ability to be delivered from that addiction, and my ability to lose weight. God said, teach, inform, educate people on how you were able to go through this storm and achieve this weight loss. But he said, be real and transparent with your testimony. Yes, it's not going to be easy telling your testimony on what you went through to get to the other side. No, this is not easy. This podcast is not even easy, because it is making me think about things that literally would make me cry, would make me go into a depression, would want to make me take my life. But I've been delivered from that. I've been delivered. So I can talk about my testimony. I can share with people. I can share with people that I didn't want to be here any longer. I didn't want to be here any longer. That I was at the highest weight. And I didn't know that I was hiding behind some nails. And I had to have a man, my fraternity brother, tell me, you're hiding behind these nails. And we see you. We see you. As beautiful as this package is, with the pretty bow and everything, we see you. And people were like, I thought to myself, wow, I'm 460 pounds. God afflicted me with an ailment that was so crazy. I never had thyroid issues. I never had kidney problems, even with drinking all the pop that I drank. The worst I used to get was maybe kidney or bladder infections, but I was so addicted to pop that I would take the Bactrim and the kidney infection and the bladder infection medicine with the pop. So I wasn't able to get rid of the bladder and kidney infection because I was still drinking pop, because I was addicted to the pop. I literally started acquiring for a 9-month period my kidneys. I started having the stages to renal failure, kidney failure for a 9-month period. I started having a thyroid issue where my numbers were not changing for a 9-month period. No matter what medicine my doctor gave me, nothing was working. So I'm from 460 to minus 76 pounds. And then I'm just like, okay,
question about the 76. When you lost weight, you weren't getting on the scale. Did you realize that?
No, actually, when I went, I chose my big mama's 76th birthday. It would have been her 76th birthday. That going into her birthday was in March. I purposely scheduled a doctor's appointment on her birthday. Now I knew I had lost some weight, but 76 pounds, I wouldn't have even fathomed that when I stepped on that scale. The scale that they had was it was where it was a card that you stick into the side of the scale, which I had never seen that before. So when the nurse and the doctors put that card into the scale, and I'm standing there. Now mine, I'm still not able to walk really good. There was a nurse on each side of me, and my doctor was off to the side. Miss Jackie, when they put that card into that scale and it said minus 76 pounds, they had to catch me. They had to literally catch me because I cried, not only because I had lost the 76 pounds, but it was my big mama's birthday. Yeah. And the last thing she said to me was, get your health together.
Yeah.
When she died, she told me on my birthday of 2010, she told me, get your health together. You're too beautiful to be big, and you're not going to make it too much longer, because my doctor 6 months before she had died had said in front of my ex-husband, in front of my daughter, in front of my 2 counselors, that if you don't lose this weight, you need to get your family ready for your funeral. because you're too heavy and it's causing all these other issues. You are going to have to get your family ready for your funeral because you're not going to make it to your 40th birthday. I thought to myself, you're a lie. And he said, and I had congestive heart failure. I had to sleep sitting popped up on so many pillows. I knew when that doctor told me, get your family ready for your funeral. And it was in front of my daughter, of all people that were in the room. My daughter was going to be a motherless child. Somebody else was going to have to step in and take care of my daughter because I wasn't there. I couldn't be selfish anymore like that. My son was actually already grown and out of the house. But for my daughter, she was still a minor. I had to do it for her first. I said, forget me. I had to be there for my daughter. I wanted to see her graduate high school. I wanted to see her go on to have the kids that she has now. I was supposed to go through that. I said I had to live for my daughter. I had to do what I had to do. I stopped breathing 92 times in less than a half an hour. I had to do something different. I had to live for my daughter. I had to live for the grandkids that I had at that time, the two that I had.
Go ahead.
I had to live for them.
Right.
I didn't even look at myself first. I looked at them and I said, you know what? I said, I said the addiction was a monster up under my bed that I used to be scared of, that I'm scared of come out. That monster was with me every day. Every day. I was confronted with that monster every day. And that's what it was.
I got another question. When you lost the 70s, did you come to a point where you hit a plateau?
Absolutely. I did come to a plateau. And that was in and also too with the plateau, I was taking not only 17 pills a day, 2 to 4 times a day. I was put on 2 insulin pens. My body actually stopped making insulin. So whereas I was type 2, my body actually went to me being type 1, where my body did not produce any insulin. So I automatically was put on to 2 insulin pens right away, whereas Novolog is a sliding scale insulin. My doctor had me on 50 milligrams 4 to 5 times a day. I was taking a set amount of 50 every time I injected myself. And that's not the norm for Novolog because it is sliding scale, but it didn't matter. And so my body actually came to a complete plateau. And my father in 2021, my father had stage 4 prostate cancer, dementia, and bone cancer all at the same time. And I left teaching and left Oklahoma City and went. God told me at 2:35 in the morning, go honor your father. I got there and went and honored my father and took care of him until he passed in January of 22. During that time of 2021, when I was teaching, my foot and ankle that I had surgery on collapsed. So here it is. I'm taking care of my father, couldn't even walk. I'm literally, again, on a walker, taking care of my father with all those ailments. And guess what? I was a teacher by trade. I'm not a nurse. So I didn't know what I was doing. So I had to ask God again to give me the strength to not only make it through my health issues, but to help me, give me the strength whatever it was, the guidance, whatever it was that I needed to take care of my father, that's what I asked God for. And I'm telling you, God gave me the courage, the strength, the guidance, everything to take care of my father until his last breath, with no help. No help until the very end. Somebody was able to step in and come start helping me. But for the most part, I was taking care of my father on my own. And he had a nurse. He had a nurse that would come in, and she said, and she didn't even know me, but God put it on her heart to tell her, you need this.
Yeah.
God is going to give you the strength to help your father till his last breath. And I said,
did you gain any of the weight back?
No, no. My father had a conversation with me, and he told me, he said, now it's time. He said, my journey is about to be over, but I want you to go and live your life and take care of you. Do whatever you have to do, whatever it is that you have to do. I want you to do it. While I was taking care of him, I was able to stay on a protein shake regimen, eat the salads at night with tuna. And I don't eat chicken, beef, or pork, so I did like tuna, fish, deer, different things like that, raccoon, different things. That's an inside joke, everybody, about the raccoon between Miss Jackie and I. But seriously, that's what kind of things that I did eat. And I was able to stay on my regimen. I didn't gain any of the weight. But I was, when my foot and ankle collapsed, the doctor said, we need to do this surgery. But I said I didn't want to do this surgery until my father passes. And so that's, my ankle had collapsed in August of 21. I didn't have the surgery until January 25th of 2022. Yes. So
what did you do? Cause we're gonna get ready to wrap this up. I want to talk about a couple of things. After you hit the plateau. And time had passed. See, I know a little bit of your story. So that's why I'm able to. I know you had the surgery. You chose to have the surgery. And could you tell us a little bit about that?
So in January of 23, that was the time that I was experiencing the my kidneys malfunctioning and my thyroid being all over the place. And for a 9-month period, like I said, he had tracked both of those things. He came to me in January of 23 and said, I'm going to have to put you on emergency dialysis. I literally took care of my grandfather and he had to do dialysis. I didn't want that for myself. I literally watched my grandfather die, with the treatments. It just, I didn't want that for myself. So I said, no, I don't want that. He was going to put me on emergency dialysis that same day. He was going to set it up for me to have emergency dialysis. I told him, absolutely not. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that. He said, your life, he said, if your kidneys get to a point where you have renal failure, your kidneys will shut down. And I'm surprised that it has not. But because of the way that you eat, I really feel like that is the reason. And God also, too, of course, first, is the reason why you have not experienced the kidney failure at the level that it should be at. So he said, I have something I want to propose to you. I said, what is it? He said, before you say no, I need you to be open-minded. He said, because I feel like this will reverse some things that you have going on as far as the diabetes, the seizures. I feel like, and it'll help with your weight. Okay, so I was open-minded to hearing what he had to say. He let the sleeve surgery come out of his mouth, the gastric sleeve. I was like, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. I went at that point, I had lost a considerable amount of weight on my own. So I said, I keep doing. He said, your body is at a complete plateau and it's not going to do anything different. So we have to change it. So he said, it's either that or the dialysis. Which one do you want?
Yeah.
So I went ahead and agreed to go ahead and take steps that it took, because a lot of people don't know that when you're going into having a weight loss surgery, there's preparation that you have to go through. There's a psychological evaluation. There's dietitian appointments you have to go to. There's a lot of things that you have to do before you can have the surgery in preparation for the surgery. So like I said, I decided to go ahead and go forth with it. So January of 23, he had me go for a sleep study. Now, mind before I stopped breathing 92 times in less than half an hour. He had me go to a sleep study. When I did the sleep study, I remember having to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and it was always around 3 o'clock. And I asked the nurse, I said, do I have to have the sleep apnea machine? She said, no, baby. She said, no. She said, I'm not supposed to tell you this. She said, the weight loss that you did saved you, because she said you are healed, you are delivered. And she wasn't supposed to tell me that. But she said, no, baby, you can just go back to sleep. You're okay. I don't have to have the sleep apnea. She said, no. When I got my results on Monday morning through my portal, through my doctor, it said in capital bold letters, no sleep apnea detected.
Yes.
I knew God had healed me, and I knew that I was on the right path. But I still knew that I wasn't out of the woods yet, because I still had, I still was dealing with the kidney and the thyroid. So my doctor, the surgeon, the bariatric surgeon, came to me at the end of July, and it was just supposed to be a follow-up appointment, regular appointment. He said, are you ready to have this surgery? And it was scheduled originally for September, October. And I said, well, I guess I'm going to be as ready as I'm going to be. He said, no. He said, we have a cancellation for Tuesday. I said, what Tuesday? He said, next Tuesday. And this was a Friday. He said, are you ready? And I said, no, but guess what? I'm going to be ready. Yeah. I had the sleeve surgery August 1st of 2023. I had that surgery, and found out while they were doing this surgery that I had a 3-centimeter hernia that was it was right where my esophagus was, that was causing me to not be able to keep food down. So they were able to repair that. And I will say on August 1st of 2023, when I weighed, I was 335 the morning of my surgery. And I had a doctor's appointment in the middle of September. And when I went to that doctor's appointment, I was so I literally was in the 200 range.
Wow.
I was a high 200,
but still,
I was in the 200s. I haven't been in the 200 range. No, I take that back. I was in the 300 range. Excuse me. I was 335 when I had the surgery, but when I went and weighed myself, I was able to be 275. 275.
Yeah.
You know, and the doctor said I was able to achieve a weight loss that most people don't achieve until close to a year. And here I was achieving a considerable amount of weight loss in a short amount of time.
So where are you now?
I am, my weight is, as of today, 241.
And how tall are you?
I am 6'1".
So she's tall. You all.
Yes, I'm 6'1".
And looking good.
Yes, I get my pants and stuff from Tords, but because I like their pants because I'm so tall. Like they have tall and extra tall pants. I am literally from a 30-32 in pants. I'm able to wear a size 10.
Wow.
In pants, and I can wear from a 7-8X t-shirt. I can now wear a size small.
Yes. I think I got one more question. We realize the people that's listening to us that the surgery is not for everybody, but it's a life situation for you. And the doctors are there for us. A lot of people don't agree with the doctor, but honey, the Lord had the with him. Luke was with him. So God put all this in place for you. It may not be for everybody, but this was for Rebecca. God wanted you to live and not die. Now my question is, was this journey easy for you?
It absolutely was and is not easy. It became easier for me because I had already went through metamorphosis and a journey on my own before the surgery. I was able to stay on a food regimen. I don't even use the word diet any longer because a diet for myself means you're trying to get into an outfit or it's a temporary fix. But a lifestyle change in a regimen I created to where for the rest of my life I'm able to do that. I'm able to reset my body by changing different smoothies and creating different smoothies and creating different meals to where I can stay on my regimen for the rest of my life. So it wasn't just a fix. So when people have the misconception, and a lot of people say, oh, well, you didn't do it the natural way. I absolutely did do it the natural way.
Exactly.
But when my body got to a plateau and it would not, I could not lose any more weight no matter how many times I went to the gym, how many times I stayed on my food regimen, my body went to a complete plateau. And your body will do that. So I need to inform you, educate you, and let you know that, yes, this surgery is not for the weak. It is not. If you do not have a mindset and are not mentally ready to accept that I eat like a newborn. I don't even eat like a toddler. I eat like a newborn. I can sometimes only eat 2 to 3 bites of something and I can't eat anymore. And sometimes that even makes me throw up. So to be honest with you, I can't even eat certain foods anymore. I used to love eggs. I really can't even eat eggs. I have to go down, even though I don't eat chicken any longer. For 3 years, I haven't ate chicken. For almost 16 years, I haven't ate beef, and then pork for 5 years. I have to eat quail eggs because of the size of them, and I can eat maybe 2 to 3 of them, and that's it. I can't eat eggs anymore. I had to make, yes, absolutely. I had to make a complete lifestyle change. So when people say, oh, that's the easy way, there's nothing easy about this surgery and everything that comes along with it. There's nothing easy about it, because you cannot eat. You cannot eat, you shouldn't be. Let me take that back. You should not be able to eat.
Some people, the stomach is an organ that grows back. There's a lot of people that have surgery. They have ate their stomach where it's a stretch, kept eating, the stomach is stretched back. They done gained that weight back and a lot more. So when you say it's got to be a mindset to do right even after the surgery. It's still not an easy way. You still got to try to do right.
Right, and I tell people that's I used to actually, and it wasn't that I wasn't willing to be transparent, but I had to find a way because this platform is actually the first time I've actually came out and really told a lot of people that why I had to have the surgery, because a lot of people that when I told them that I was going to do the surgery, oh no, you're fine, you look fine. But they told me that when I was 460 pounds and killing myself and eating myself to death. So when I tell people, I'm educating and informing you now that this surgery is not for the weak, I had to mentally tell myself and make myself believe that I have to look at food differently. My relationship with food cannot ever be what it used to be. I have to look at food totally different. I have to literally measure out everything. Some people ask me, why are you so rigid with measuring out everything? And I said, because if I don't mentally condition my mind to say, you know what? You're not going to go back to that 7-8X t-shirt. And guess what? I know people that have had this surgery and they haven't had the success that I had, because they haven't conditioned their mind to say, I have to change all behavior. I have to change my ways of eating food. For me, I'm only speaking for me. I have to measure out everything that I eat. I had food, liquid intake. I even had to start eating crushed ice because I couldn't drink bottled water because my stomach wouldn't allow me to. I got too full too fast. So eating the crushed ice allowed me to get my water intake for the day. And I still do that. There's certain things that I have to do that some people might say, well, you're just a little bit too strict on yourself. Well, you know what? When you've been delivered for what I've been delivered from, I'm sorry. I make no apologies that I carry my measuring cups around with me in a bag. I carry a certain cup around with me and leave it in my truck because I know what I have to do. I know when I go to a certain restaurant, I know there's certain things I can't eat any longer, and I'm not even trying to eat them to be sick. I'm not going to try to eat it when I know my body's going to reject it. Like rice. I love rice. I love even quinoa rice. I cannot eat that any longer because it expands in your stomach. When you really have to think about this. I have 25% of my stomach now. So I cannot eat like I used to eat. Right. Even the 2 or 3 bites, like I said, I sometimes get nauseated off of certain foods. So like I said, it's a metamorphosis on finding out who the new and improved Rebecca Townsell is. Who is Rebecca now today, opposed to where I was over 10 years ago when I had this addiction to food. Where am I at today? I want to teach people, inform people, and educate people on how not only to lose weight in a healthy way, but I did my whole regimen at a Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
I did. So I have.
You did it out of what?
I did my whole regimen of the French style green beans, pineapples, and blueberries out of the Dollar Tree. Affordable, because I always used to hear people, and I used to make the same excuse too, that hey, it costs too much to go to Walmart and get those $10 bags of blueberries or what have you. And it's to the point it was the point where I said, you know what? They have blueberries, they have pineapples, they have French style green beans for $1. And you know what? I was able to spend $60 on those items, whereas I used to go to a restaurant and spend $60 on myself eating out and ordering food. So why not do create a regimen to where I can teach people how to eat healthy on a budget? I was on a budget, so I used the Dollar Tree. So yes, I have turned around and shared my regimen with people. I've even made the smoothie for individuals. It's not for the weak. Everybody can't do what I did. They can't do the blueberries, the pineapples, and the French style green beans. They say, oh, with the texture. It's not for everybody. It's not for the weak. And if your mindset is not where it needs to be, no diet regimen that you do is going to be successful if your mindset is not where it needs to be. You're going to fail because your mindset is not where it needs to be. And that's what I would say. So I am going to say that I would love, and I hope my LLC called Thick Slim and Positive Vibes Only is a brand, is my health and wellness brand that I teach people how to eat healthy on a budget. And I would love someone that is affiliated with the Dollar Tree, affiliated with Walmart, Whole Foods, because I've used all of them in my health and wellness journey. I would love for someone to come and offer sponsorship to where I could effectively help my clients by making foods in meal prepping. I would love somebody to offer me sponsorship, because there's individuals that, God says, ask and you shall receive. I'm asking for sponsorship. I'm asking for somebody to look at my testimony and say that she's, with her platform on Facebook, she's willing to share a real personal testimony that some people might not ever want to share. I want to teach people how to meal prep healthy and nutritious meals on a budget. I'm asking for somebody out there to be willing to sponsor Thick Slim and Positive Vibes Only. That's what I'm asking.
Amen. That's wonderful. Our time is over, actually, but it's been good. And I'm going to make a statement. Girl, don't it feel good to cross your legs?
Cross your legs and tie your shoe, because I remember at a time where I had to have somebody tie my shoe and bathe myself with no help and walk. God ordered my steps, and it might take me a little bit longer because of my foot surgery, but you know what? He ordered those steps, but I'm taking them, and I wear my colorful Converse with pride, and with grace and style, and I don't let anybody make me feel bad. Like, I always wear Converse, and I said, because God ordered my steps, and I'm going to take them, and I'm going to be colorful, and I'm going to be jazzy when I'm doing it. So
my prayer is, Lord, give us a mind. Lord, deliver us from gluttony. Lord, break habit. Lord, break yoke. Break chain. Give us a mind. Give us a mind to eat right, move, exercise, take control, God. Lead and guide us, God. In the name of Jesus. First of all, I bind every spirit of addiction. I bind every spirit of depression, hopelessness, despair, low self-esteem, low self-worth. I lose your deliverance. I speak live and not die. In the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Amen. Listen, you all. Remember, mind your business.